Hello, my loves. Oh my goodness. This new moon is going to mark the end of eclipse season. And then next weekend we'll be done with Mercury retrograde. So, this new moon is an awesome look into the new chapters that are ahead of us, the new paths that have been become available to us after our work and reflection and healing through eclipse season and Mercury retrograde. So it's super awesome. So I would definitely utilize this new moon for manifestation, for healing, for all of those things. So definitely take advantage of my new moon package or all the services separately. You can just get one of these messages. You can get a new moon reading, new moon hypnosis audios to call in new chapters with the new moon, new moon Reiki charged, moonstone, my abundance courses and workshops, my new moon healing. It's all going down. So, what is the main energy of this new moon? What is the main message? We have blossoming, and threes are all about collaborations, working. Actually, you know what's really funny is I had a session earlier today with a client, and they asked me, like, where does the three gates come from? What is the number three? And we started talking about how important the number three is, right? And this is a double three, it's a six, and six is about balance. So, how are we balancing our lives? How are we balancing between the physical and the spiritual? How are we balancing between our mind and our bodies and our emotions and our energy? How are we balancing between work and play? How are we balancing between all of these things? How are we making everything transmute and meld together? And actually, that was the work we were doing today, too. Oh my goodness. It is a huge theme, apparently, with this new moon. So, blossoming. What are we blossoming into, guys? What do you want to blossom into? Do not give up. You have planned for this. Take no notice of what others think or say about you. Open and rise. Someone around you may be jealous of your success. Mark your victories. I joyfully blossom and I feel no fear. In the country in which I live, there really aren't a lot of meadows, that classic kind of gently rolling open space, often between a forest or mountains. This kind of space whispers to you. Here, rest a while. Lay down, my friend. It's soft. The first true meadow I saw was in Yosemite National Park in the US. It was early spring. The snows had pretty much stopped, and nature had taken her opportunity. In front of me, as far as I could see, was a green meadow of grasses covered in blossoming flowers. It was so beautiful it almost made me cry. I just stood there for a long while, taking it all in. It felt so hopeful and new and joyful, so I felt hopeful and renewed and joyful. I walked into the meadow and was soon surrounded by this blossoming. The flower fragrance drifted up with the breeze. There was a dusting of pollen on my clothes. I could hear the contented buzzing of a few insects. In that moment, I was so grateful to be part of the meadow. Anything seemed possible here. There is a time to blossom. We plant seeds, physically and metaphorically, so they will blossom into what we intend. Perhaps the journey has been a long and hard one, but we shouldn't give up, especially if we are close. Fear is usually the thing that prevents flow and blossoming. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of change, fear of what people think. I could go on, but no, if we can release the useless fears and begin to enjoy our growth and eventual blossoming, it'll all be worthwhile. And the companion stone is ruby. Oh my goodness. That felt so good. That message, right? It's like release the fears. What fears are holding you back? And yeah, that could be fear of change. Yeah, that could be fear of success. Yeah, that could be fear of failure. Yeah, that could be fear of not being good enough. That could be fear of what others are going to say or do or how they're going to react. Yeah, that could be fear of a million different things. So all of these seeds you have planted, all of this work that you've been doing, are you also watering those seeds with fear? Are you almost putting them into the ground and asking them to blossom, only to also cover them up away from the sun so that they can't get the nurturance that they need, in fear of what might happen if they actually bloom, right? How are you standing in your way? Because now is the time for us to grow. Now is the time for our seeds to come through, and that can be really scary. And if you need help with that fear, or rewriting it, or releasing it, or being held and supported in this time, definitely reach out to me because I can help. All right. So, what new path is available to us right now? Commitments. Commitments that we have been working long towards. Like I was saying, right? We've been putting our seeds into the ground. We've been working hard. We've been nurturing these parts of ourselves. Whether it's commitments to ourselves, commitments to a belief, commitment to a value, commitment to a person, commitment to a relationship, commitment to a career, commitment to a goal. We've been working hard towards that, and now we have the availability or the ability to reach that goal and to make it come into fruition. So how do we make that happen? How do we align to that goal? That's a lot of cards. I'm not going to do that. How do we align to this goal? Apparently I have a lot of cards that like are not facing the right way. We have the Hermit and the Page of Pentacles. Do some reflection on what are you allowing for yourself, right? Like what are, like, it's almost like you're feeding yourself smaller pieces of what you actually want, what you actually desire, so that it's like a little taste of what you want and something that you can be happy with, but it's so that you feel safe, so that you don't have to enter that new ground of fear, of all of these fears that are coming up for you, with the actual abundance, the actual goal to be gained. So you're settling for smaller pieces that are safer, but in so doing that, you are keeping the full abundance and the full thing from being able to come in for you, because that space is being kept by these things. Now, if you want a full bag of rubies, but that bag is full of sand, you can't fit the rubies if the sand is in there. That's the kind of message, is what I'm saying. You have the ability to birth anything that you desire. You are in your power completely and totally, and you don't have to settle for anything. So, really do some reflection on what these fears are and how you might be settling for something smaller or lesser to fill that place, because what the seeds that you've planted, that you've been nurturing, are ready. They're ready to blossom, and you are ready to blossom, but they have no room to come up out of the dirt to show you that it's here. All right, so I'm here if you need me.